Hey everyone, welcome back to the L&L Homestead again, where we're finding our freedom and self-reliance in a modern world. It is Saturday, November 12th, so happy belated Veteran Day to all my fellow veterans out there. If you're new to the channel, my name is Eric. Just built a house in western Wisconsin near the St. Croix River. My family and I are adventuring on taking a journey on creating self-sufficiency and finding our own kind of freedom in this modern world, and I'm excited that you're here to join us. Today I'm working on a section of our native prairie that we're putting in our yard, and this is going to be near our septic tank over here, this mound to the right. What I've done is all growing season, pretty much since May of this year, 2022, I've been doing the smother method to kill off all the weeds and the grasses that have been growing in this yard. And it was a very wild area before we moved in. Lots of weeds and overgrown blackberries and wild berries and whatnot. So we've gotten that a little bit under control. Now I've got these black tarps down. And what you do with the smother method is you do a rotation where you'll have the area you want killed off covered for 4 to 5 weeks, and then you uncover it for 2 weeks, let some plants grow, then you cover it again. And essentially what you're doing is you're just depriving the vegetation of sunlight so it can't grow and it eventually dies off. It's an important step to do when you're doing prairie seeding, because you want to be able to give your prairie seeds good contact with the ground. And if there's a bunch of weeds and stuff growing, they have competition that they can't get through. The reason we're doing native prairie seeding is, number one, I don't want to mow as much lawn if I don't have to, so that's a great time saver for me. Number two, we like the fact that it's going to bring more wildlife and birds and bees and all that good stuff back here for our kids to explore and find and play with. And number three, it's just a good for the soil and to help keep things from deteriorating away. This particular area is close to a couple of easements in our neighborhood, water easements, so there's some steep slopes and runoffs, and this will help slow down the water movement and get it absorbed back into the ground, and it'll run into our well and whatnot. Just to keep this video short, I'll give you a little bit more of an explanation or show you. So I just took a bunch of lumber and rocks that we found in the yard throughout the year and used them to help keep these tarps down. I will say it's a bit of a pain in the butt. When it gets windy out, you definitely need more material to hold down than what you think. Stakes from like your Menards and Lowe's do not do the job. They are not strong enough to hold down in a 20-mile-an-hour wind gust. But, I mean, it's a pretty easy concept. You just... So it all looks like underneath. Any of the green you see is pretty much coming down from trees right now. I'm amazed at what few plants that do still grow out here. Again, this is probably a 4-month process just to make sure that I killed off as many of the weed seeds in the top of the soil, the seed bank, as much as I could. And then I'm going to end up spreading out prairie seed. I have a septic safe one from, I like this company called Prairie Nursery. Very informative website, very easy, user-friendly, and I've actually given them a call once or twice just to get advice throughout the process, and they've always been answered the phone right away and been very helpful with their tips. So definitely not sponsored by anyone. This is like my 3rd video ever, so I have no sponsorship and spent all my money buying their seeds and whatnot. But that being said, even if you're just looking for information, it's a great resource to go to. I think it's prairiemoonnursery.com. But if you just search Prairie Moon, it should pop up right away. So we've killed off all the undergrowth and the vegetation here. I'm going to get all this uncovered today and maybe start seeding, if not today, tomorrow. And it's important to do it, at least up here in the northern Midwest. You want to get these prairie seeds out in the fall, just before the first snowfall, so they have all winter to do their cold stratification, which is the process that helps those seeds want to germinate. And so that's what we're going to do today, and then it'll be covered up by the snow, and as the snow thaws and freezes and all that stuff, it'll help it grow, help the seeds root themselves down deep, and I theoretically shouldn't have to do too much watering in the future. Rex will be there as always, keeping me safe, guarding the way, And I'm going to do all this pretty much just with muscle and my handy dandy little utility wagon here. So I'll set you down and then I'm going to get to work. Okay, quick user tip right here. So when I started covering these up at the beginning of the year, I went to Menards and bought the normal gardening plastic tarps. They're 4 feet wide by 20 or 25 feet long. So I have a ton of sections of that. Covering and uncovering, having to move that much stuff around the perimeter edges of your tarping is so much work and just not time effective. So eventually I upgraded to the larger ones that are about, this section right here is 10 feet wide and 25 feet or so long. And that's been a lot less labor intensive and time consuming. So just a little tip there, if you're doing larger sections, this area is about 1,500 square feet. If you're doing larger sections like this, you might want to look into spending a few more bucks on the bigger tarps just to save yourself time when you're covering things up. I have another section of prairie along our driveway that I'll show you in another video. That is about 4,000 square feet. So those tarps that I have out there, I bought on Amazon. They were 20 feet wide by 200 feet long. So they're big and heavy, but at the end of the day, I think they save me a lot of time instead of trying to connect all these little pieces of tarp together.